How are you today?
Fantastic.
Thank you
all just
so
froze
much
for
for
me.
speaking to me. Can you see me?
I think Bree might have froze. She's in Africa, so
Oh my God.
Yeah, but yeah,
Am I back?
You're back.
perfect.
It seems to be good, and there's nobody at the hotel right now, so hopefully my Wi-Fi stays strong. If I ask you to repeat yourself, that's just Wi-Fi problems.
Definitely do that for you. I have no issue doing that.
Cool.
Well, thank you guys so much. Let's jump in and talk about the movie. Wonderful movie. So enjoyable with such eclectic characters. I mean, besides obviously your two leads, you guys, your characters just spend the entire time dealing with the most insane people I've ever met. So for both of you, yes, Tom, I know you actually, not only did you act in it, but you directed and wrote it. So from an acting standpoint, before we get into the writing standpoint, what was it like working with these insane characters, and how did you guys keep straight faces the entire time? Because I would be dying.
You want to take it first, Bree?
I mean, we definitely had some good laughs in some of these, especially if you screw up the dialogue and just trying to look at somebody that's staring at you, making some ridiculous face because you know what's coming next. But I don't know. The dating scenes were so much fun. And I think Tom and I can both agree that we got to talk a lot about our dating lives, and it was very relatable for both of us. And we had a lot of great stories to share. And it was just, again, this is a movie that is relatable to all, I think. Until maybe you're done dating, so we'll see.
That's for the sequel, but no, I would say that
yeah, exactly.
I've never done a film where this, and even been on a film as an actor that I'd done comedy. This is my first comedy is first directorial debut, and I went to comedy. But what I was going to say is, at least twice, 3 times a day, somebody would yell cut and everybody would burst out laughing. So that was the best feeling. That was like, I'm like, oh, we made the day if that happened. And sometimes there were 30 of those times. And that was a great feeling.
Yeah.
Well, for both of you, was there a particular date story that looking at it, you're like, yep, that one exactly has happened in my life. And it just sticks out in my head as either the worst experience or the most memorable? Well,
I'll say that so many of the dates were definitely taken from my life, being a single dad and being on the dating scene. And, so it was a combination of those stories and then other people's stories that they told me, and then just fun stuff that I created. But the speed dating, definitely, I did have somebody tell me they were bipolar and borderline personality disorder as like the first thing. And then it was like, God, do you like to dance? It was just kind of going right to the heart of the matter. But it's just fun getting the great fun lines like this. Rasan Orange, who played one of her dates, I just thought it would be so funny if he got offended because he's a chemistry teacher and he got offended by her reference to Breaking Bad. I just thought it was funny. And it was, I mean, like, so watching that off camera in that scene, you can see me like, if just crying in the background, just envision that if you're watching those scenes.
Oh my God. What about you, Briana?
Yeah, that was definitely one of my favorite parts, actually, that whole scene. I just thought it was hilarious. Tom, by the way, I didn't know that you actually did speed dating in your life. So that was a fact that I missed somehow.
Not at all.
That's how desperate we both were for love, huh?
Really, yeah.
I mean, for me, I've had so many dates in my life, but yeah, most of them went wrong, and some of them were great, and I even had long-term relationships that ended up almost like I didn't know the person. So I can speak on all levels of these things. Not to blast anybody because all of them were amazing humans in the end, but yeah, I had a ride.
I feel like it kind of goes into I feel like that it goes into the story though, because you have to have all of these bad first dates or bad relationships before you can eventually find the one that's meant for you. And we watch both of your characters go through that whole spiel, bad date after bad date, to finally, when they're just, down on their luck at the very end, they just happen to meet and be there together. And I love that because it's, as you guys said, extremely relatable. But why, Tom, this is for you. Why dancing? Why was that the main theme of the movie?
Well, I'd been ballroom dancing since like 1997. And I especially loved the dance that we did in the movie called West Coast Swing. I had done another film called Love and Dancing years back with Amy Smart, Betty White. I got to dance with Betty White in that movie, but I didn't direct it. So it wasn't really my vision. And so I just wanted to create a movie. When you talk about love, for me, dancing has to be part of it, because that's connection between two people, especially when you're doing that kind of flow and the lead follows. So for the people in the movie, Jack and Jill, they are definitely on some kind of broken road of this hell that they're going through. But when they connect, besides connecting verbally and connecting and having a good time and smiling and all that, the second they hold hands and they connect on the dance floor, then it's that physical connection, and that just takes it to another level.
Now, for both of you, when you guys were doing not only your dancing scenes together, but all of those dancing scenes that you had with your interesting dates, what was that process like, the choreography? And then when you guys finally got to your dance, how was that different than every other dance you had previously done?
You want to go over it?
Yeah. So I believe my main other dance was with Mario, who plays my best friend. So that was just a blast to do together, because we became buddies real quick. And then the other ones were kind of just making stuff up as we go, and we're supposed to be screwing up and messing up anyway, so we didn't have to figure too much out. And then doing the choreography that Robert taught Tom and I was just so wonderful. And for me, a new type of dance that I had never done before, that I just thought was so beautiful and fun and sexy and kind of go with the flow, but also like you said, very connective. So you have to be connecting with your partner to be able to do this type of dance. And I think that's what makes it work, in the end. So yeah, the piece at the end was my favorite. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's really cool is that Briana had other dances in the film, like Jay Sean Lee. Stephen Wu was a fun dance because he was supposed to be horrible and leading. We
did choreograph some of that.
Yeah. We literally choreographed bad dancing, which is really fun to do. But also she got to dance with Robert Royston, who's the choreographer. My friend in my first dance teacher, West Coast Swing, 8-time US Open world champion. So in the scene where we're both at the dance club dancing with different people, she's actually dancing with Robert, because it was like we knew, he could lead her and it'd be great. But what's really cool about the last day, of course, that was my favorite too, is that was really done on the last day. Honest to God, I think it was actually the last scene that we filmed. So we knew each other so well then that it was just, we were already connected by the time we were dancing.
It was like the greatest kiss, but a dance.
Exactly.
That's exactly. You could feel the connection. And even though your characters don't really interact for a majority of this movie, you feel that though, once they finally come together, that you're watching you two dance, you're just like, this just makes complete sense. Makes complete sense.
I've had people tell me that they cry when our park bench scene after we take a walk, that it's just like, we've been through such hell in this movie and bad dates that even I tear up when I see it. I've seen it 20 times. It's like,
I love it.
Like finally they won, and they won each other. So.
But I think what you would typically see for a rom-com like that is that's where it would start. That's where you would typically see the start of the movie,
right?
Is them coming together at the wedding, sitting down at the bench. Oh, we've been through this, and let's start the movie from there. But you went the complete opposite direction. So, Tom, for you, what inspired you to go that way and not have it start immediately from the ending scene with the wedding and them connecting through dancing?
Well, I think that it was something unique that, the two leads in the movie don't meet until 10 minutes left in the movie. I thought that hadn't been done before. So that was exciting. But also too, it was like, if they're going to go on this hellish ride, it was about the journey, going into it. And I don't think I'm dropping any bombs here. We're going to get together in the end, walking, the lights are going down, we're going to get together in the end. So in that regard, it's about the journey and it's not about the destination. So the journey was the fun part. And that's where the comedy is, because it gets very sweet once her and I are together, and there's not really any comedy. That's where the romance comes in. So it was fun to just keep it comedy until the end, where it's time to just get a little bit serious.
And Briana, you touched upon it. Jill's best friend. Absolutely. Your guys' relationship was my second favorite one, besides obviously the romantic one. That he, in my opinion, was not in it enough, because we didn't get to watch him really interact besides with Jack for that one scene. I was like, I need to see more of him with Jack, and then watch him
everyone loves
just
Mario.
explore like this their relationship, because it would be amazing. So can you talk about creating that chemistry with him in the movie?
Absolutely. I mean, Mario and I just hit it off right when we met. I've been a fan of him forever, and actually more of my friends were fans of him than I was, but I was so excited to meet him, and we just like we was like we've known each other our entire lives. It was one of those relationships and friendships, and we both had not done West Coast Swing, so we both kind of had these nerves about like getting this down, and we got to screw up together a lot, which was fun, and just kind of make fun of ourselves, which was one of my favorite things to do. You can't take all of this too seriously, you know. So yeah, I felt the chemistry, and when I watched it, I was like, oh man, take me back.
Well, it did. It resonated on screen, and it was fantastic. And I especially loved the dry cleaning scene with him and Jack. That to me was A plus. So crafting that scene, Tom, can you tell me a little bit about that, and then actually acting with Mario in it? Because that, that scene is going to be a standout in this movie.
Oh, that's great. It was so fun because, he's got some great improv instincts, and I'm a big stickler for the script, but he made something up in that scene about the Eagle dry cleaners and told me that's a famous gay nightclub or a bar or something. And he said, oh, I got to make a reference to this. I'm like, yeah, that's going in. That's going in. So, and it's funny because the guy behind the desk, my note to him was just play it as straight as possible. I want to see no emotion, like do not act. Just like, deliver the lines. And he delivered the lines. I forget his name. I would love to shout out to him, but he was great in that scene as well. So real fun to connect. And it also shows a bond between me and him right away. And so we're kind of forced together and become friends in the movie. So yeah.
Was there ever any talk of having him be in more scenes with Jack, or was it always just, we're going to do the dry cleaning scene and then that will really be it?
Well, I'll just say that's, the process of making movies is not, you don't cast for that, like, meaning I didn't know he was playing that role when I wrote the script. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, I didn't know, was that going to be that person? One time in the movie Love and Dancing, we had a small receptionist role, and there was Rachel Dratch from SNL ended up playing that role, but she tried out for a different role, but she wasn't right age and everything. And so we gave that to Caroline Ray, and we went back and we wrote some great jokes for the receptionist just because it was her. It was, in this case, the kind of script was set, and I was just talking about this on a podcast, that the script to the screen is almost identical. If you read the script, there's not that we went, oh, let's chunk these pages and let's change. It was so identical that we were happy with the script, and the people who read it said they laughed out loud. So we didn't want to change what we thought was working already.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Awesome. I also want to talk the very, very ending, the end credits, where you guys are all dancing at the reception. Everyone just looks like they're having a good time. Was there any choreographed to that, or was it just, we're going to shoot this, everyone's going to have a little bit of fun, and we're going to show them what our real dance moves look like?
Well, I'll say that for me, it was, I have been a fan of Bollywood. I've spoken at two of the biggest film schools in Mumbai, and they end a lot of movies, just like Slumdog Millionaire did, with a big dance number. And so I just thought that would be real fun. It was my dream to have this group dance. And West Coast Swing is also, because it's done in a slotted line, it's something you could do right next to each other. So we got, obviously, Briana, we got Julianne Arrieta, we got Catherine Mary Stewart, Robert Royston's in there. I wish I could remember everybody in that scene, but at one point when we were doing the choreography there, that was all choreographed by Robert Royston, even the group dance. We had Jesse Cove, all the actors in there. And it was just fun to show that we could all do it together. But when it ends, the music ends, we all jump around and hug each other. I end up with hugging her. That was improvised. So, yeah.
Yeah. And then we had the after party and the film wrapped, and it was like just such a great last day all together. It really was.
What's cool is that in between some of the scenes, we were dancing, like, that right at the after party. As soon as that cut, the movie was in the can, we all started dancing on the dance floor. So it's fun.
That's awesome. Now, Briana, for you had mentioned a little bit earlier that you didn't really know West Coast Swing. So was that something that you picked up easily, with your dance background, or was it something that you found a little bit tough?
I did find it a little bit tough, actually. It was a lot slower. I actually was able to have a lot more freedom in it than I thought. And I think once I got the footwork down and the basics and the foundation of it, I felt more confident to be able to kind of flow with it. And I like to be a leader. So it was super hard to follow. And once I let go of the leading part and just followed, I think most of the scene with Robert when we're dancing at the club was not choreographed actually. And he was actually just leading me. And it was so fun to be able to just feel the music and feel the moves that I had been taught from Robert and Tom. So it was awesome. It takes confidence, you know?
Yeah.
And, shouting out to Robert, if Robert is a Ferrari, I'm, a 1970 Yugo as far as the dance world goes. But, it's still, at the end of the day, West Coast Swing is a very tough dance to learn initially because there's no basic step. Like salsa, you'd literally have a rock step.
Yeah.
You could do that entire move for the entire salsa song and you've made it through the dance. West Coast Swing does not have that. So for her to pick that up that quick was just incredible. And it goes to her dance training. But the scene where the girl tries to back lead me, that's happened to me so many times on the dance floor where I'm fighting over the lead. So we had a little fights over the lead, but she adapted very quickly.
So wait, Tom, then I have a question for you. Did you have the woman at the gym trying to overlift with you? Is that a real?
No, that's not a real story. That part was not real, but I just thought it'd be funny if she said, you want to see who really leads, and then we go to the gym.
One of my favorite scenes. Yeah.
I really enjoyed that.
Shanna Best, she was very funny. Yeah.
Well, for my final question for both of you today, what are you guys hoping fans get from the movie?
There we go.
You know what? I think both of us, we're big suckers for love. And I know my whole life I have been dating. And I hope that you never give up on love because you can find it. And I even did. I'm now calling Tom my gypsy because I did this movie and literally, shortly after my whole life changed. So I said yes to this script immediately when I read it because I loved the story. And I think it's so important for us, this message, and to not give up and to continue just having hope on all levels. But when it comes to love, love is all there is, and love is the greatest weapon, and love wins. So I hope that when you walk out, you just feel good and you want to dance and you want to fall in love.
Yeah. And I'd echo exactly what she said there. I think that her and I are both in love with that storybook love, and we're friends. We talked about it so much that we were kind of both searching for it. She was actually able to find it already, and maybe one day for me. But ultimately, I think if people laugh their butts off, maybe tear up a little in that scene, but at the end, they go, I want to start dancing. And that's the reason we have that dance at credits. And they go, it's just a lot of fun. And I think people need a little bit more fun in their life these days with everything going on. It's like, go to this movie, see it, and have a great time.